Next up, I'm going to pick the NFC North, which obviously, again, huge change just happened a few days ago with Micah Parsons now entering this division. And I'm almost like I'm one like I kind of have the game spread out the way I imagine, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes a different way. This is by far the best division in football, and this is the only division in football, if I'm not mistaken, where every team is going to finish with a winning record. And say that again. This is the only division in football where every single team I'm predicting will finish with a winning record. And that's after picking every single game. So I got the Lions going 12 and 5. Um, I don't think the Lions will be as good as they were last year. Losing your coordinators can kind of help, can kind of hurt that. But I don't think they'll take a complete nosedive like the Eagles did after they lost their coordinators. Although they might, it could happen. Um, but I have the Lions going 12 and 5, so I think that's like three or four more losses than they had last year. Still think they're the class of their division. Jared Goff is still the classic comeback story. Like, I don't think there's a better out of all the comeback stories in the NFL. Baker Mayfield, everybody, Sam Darnold, Jared Goff is just the quintessential one. I think he's just the best example of being in the right place, how it can truly unlock your talents. And I wonder if it's going to change the way that people evaluate quarterbacks going forward and how long it takes for them before they give up. But we'll see. But anyway, Lions are still top. I think Terry and Arnold is only going to get better and help that secondary. You know, they've got good safeties. The offensive line, even though they missed Frank Ragnow, is still an iron box. Um, the Lions are my pick to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl because I think the Lions make it to the divisional round, and I think they're able to beat the Eagles in the NFC Championship. So I am picking the Lions to go to the Super Bowl over the Eagles. However, like I said, there's a good chance the Eagles could repeat, but the Lions I have going 12 and 5. Next up in the division, I have the Packers also going 12 and 5. And again, just like last year when the Vikings went 14 and 3 and made the playoffs as the 5th seed, the Lions are going to end up winning the division at 12 and 5 and the Packers are going to make the 5th seed at 12 and 5. And that is because of Micah Parsons. I already had them as like a 10-7 fringe 11 and 6 team, and then really just by adding Micah Parsons, they just flipped one of those games. Now there's no way the Packers are going to lose to the Cowboys. So that's at least 12 wins to me. When you look at their schedule and everyone they're going against, I have them splitting with some guys in their division. And you know they also face some really tough teams like the Eagles. I think they play the Ravens, but don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. But that's why I have the Packers going 12 and 5 because Micah Parsons is going to make a massive difference. They could even be better than this. They might end up getting a 13 and 4. It would be. It kind of depends on Jordan Love. I do think this makes them Super Bowl contenders. I really do. And if you ask me who's going to be in the NFC divisional round, based upon how it all plays out, I would say the Eagles, Lions, Packers, and Commanders. I think they're all a class above everyone else, and I think they all have an opportunity to go. So depending on how the wild card weekend plays out, that would actually I would love to see like those four teams in the NFC championship game. But that's my pick for who's going to the. That's my pick for number two in the NFC North. Next up, we have the Minnesota Vikings. I actually have them going 9 and 8. Have the Vikings going 9 and 8. So that's a winning season. It's a bit of a regression, right? Because obviously Sam Darnold led the Vikings to 14 and 3, which is crazy. Um, but a couple of things going here. Obviously, the Vikings now have a much harder schedule than they did last year because they were much more successful last year. I think that defense under Brian Flores is still going to be good, and I still think 9 and 8 is a like it seems like a regression, but like JJ McCarthy's got to get his sea legs, and we don't know anything about him. We don't know what he's going to be. Is he going to be better than Sam Darnold? Is he going to be worse than Sam Darnold? And I don't think we can really. The Vikings won a lot of one-score games last year, and I don't think we can conclusively say he's going to be better or worse. So that's why I have them at 9 and 8, kind of average, just barely missing out on the playoffs. And again, it'll seem like a loss, but I think if you get to 9 and 8 and JJ McCarthy really starts coming into his own at the end of the season, Viking fans have plenty to look forward to next year. Because they moved on from a lot of big contracts, Kirk Cousins' big contract, they'll be able to put some more pieces around JJ McCarthy and really see this thing grow and let him keep going. He's in a fantastic situation to continue growing. So I do have the Vikings going 9 and 8 though, and that's mainly just because we don't know what JJ McCarthy is yet. And then last, again, it's technically last based upon, but I guess they tie with the Vikings. I have the Bears going 9 and 8 as well. So in this scenario, the Vikings ended up as the eighth seed and the Bears ended up as the 11th seed. And I think just based upon conference record and how everything shook out. But there's a very real scenario where the Bears are the eighth seed and the Vikings are the 11th seed or something like that. It just depends on how they win their interconference games. But I have the Bears going 9-8 too. Winning season, first season under Ben Johnson. Caleb Williams continues to grow and develop. The Bears showed a lot last year. It's just a lot of times their offensive line held them back, and I think they aggressively worked to fix that. I don't think the Bears are, have reached like Super Bowl contending levels yet, but I think they're really close, and I think they're doing all the right things that you should do in order to build around a young quarterback. And we'll see. And the more Roma Doomsday develops, like I think their goal is to have Roma Doomsday become the number one receiver and DJ Moore kind of morph into the number two. So I mean, if they do that, if that happens this year, the Bears are going to win more games, right? Um, so we'll just see. Right now, Roma Doomsday is a two, right? He's a number two wide receiver, and somehow the Bears still got Luther Burden. So again, they won the offseason again, but we'll see if that translates on the field because great staff, great everything, but we just don't know yet because we haven't seen it, and so that's why we got the Bears going 9-8, still getting a winning season. And again, NFC North is the only division where every team finishes with a winning record.